Okay, so as we discussed, like so there is 30% weightage for the course project that we are going to do. So in a way, there would be 3 evaluation we want to do, and so like presentation up to mid-sem, presentation up to end-sem, and third 10% for in-term compilation, entire process, and something, right? So so these are the topics we have suggested you to work on, but you are free to work on anything else as well. We don't mind, as long as there is human computer interaction. We are fine with this. So finalize the project topic by end of the 4th week. So forget about that. I think we are a bit delayed, but it should be okay because you guys were busy with many other stuff. Okay, so you should follow these steps to go about the project, and it will be evaluated based on these criteria. So first problem we want to understand, like problem definition and identifying target users, requirement gathering, ideation and low-fi prototype, high-fi prototype, evaluation, and so on. So project deliverable will be kind of report, and lastly in the end 2-minute video, and whatever the high fidelity prototype like Figma or Adobe XD file that you can create.
Sir, in the 2-minute video, do all the team members need to come in that 2-minute video explaining, or only one person needs to talk in that?
I think it's a very nice question. So I basically encourage the group participation. So again, I'm not saying everyone have to speak equally, but I expect at least everyone to speak, right? So
Sir, how can we fit, sir, 5 people into 2 minutes, sir?
why 2 minutes is kind of how many seconds?
14 seconds, sir.
14 seconds.
Sir, like
120.
Sir, 1.5 to 2 sentences per person.
Sorry, sir, 24 seconds.
Acha, theek hai, so anyways, in 1 second I think you can, 2 seconds you can speak one sentence, but anyways, so we will discuss. Okay, so let me do that way. So only one person can make video, we are fine, but at least during the presentation we want the group participation, right? At least during the presentation we expect all the members to at least say something, right? Is that fine?
Yes, sir, that would be good.
Yes, sir.
So you need to mention the individual contribution just to ensure that everyone contribute. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि yeah, only one person, one member of the group is doing. So Sarthak, we need to do, in fact, we need to divide this whole task into, I would say, in a way, at least into the 2 or 3 phases, because we have to perform the evaluation in 3 phases, 10%, 10%, 10%. So what do you think, Sarthak? In the first phase, we should cover like, if we keep a deadline of 10 days, do you think the 1 and 2 should be enough? Like only at least the problem definition, identifying target user, and requirement gathering. What do you think about it?
So definitely the first part can be done. For the second part, requirement gathering, we can narrow it down so that they could just consider, say, 1 survey and 1 interview. We can say with 5 survey with 10 participants and interviews with 5 participants, something like that. If we are considering that timeline, or we can obviously break the second one also into 2 parts. You can only conduct 1 survey for the first deadline, but for the second deadline, you would also be expected to have some interviews.
Yeah, so I see it like at least they should have some requirement gathering, or at least with a 1 survey or 1 interview that's suggested, because that will help them to understand the problem, at least understand the requirement, and over the time they can further refine it, because it's so when I say that now in the second phase they have to do this, it's never mean that they are not going to touch this again. They have to improve upon what they have already done, right? So another possibility could be rather than giving this timeline, we can give probably another week, but we expect them because theories. Okay, I think it should be okay. Okay, so how about we give them a deadline till 19th of March, right? And 19th or 18th, whatever. Happy Holi to you in advance. So they can probably have a deadline till 17th, 18th, whatever you can call it. So for example, we can give them deadline of 17, but in case they want to work during the holy holiday, I don't know, they can work on and something like that. So it's kind of, it's buffer you can think of. So though the deadline would be 17, but you can take an additional buffer of 2-3 days in case you have some free time, then you can use it. So is that fine? So in that case, we expect students by 17th of March to complete first two part. Problem definition, what the problem they are going to solve. And I suggest everyone, so when you are discussing the problem definition, so I always ask student to also write the motivation for that. There should be some motivation, introduction, why you are choosing this problem, right? So for example, if you are interested in solving some problem for, you can say, the traffic related, so there should be motivation, right? Why you are willing to work on this kind of problem, what are the challenges? Okay, so let me so Sarthak, I'm just speaking some of the points, please write down, and you can provide a detailed the guideline what they have to include. So when we say about the first problem definition, and so let's discuss problem definition first. So in the problem definition, so you have to define the problem, right? You have to discuss about the problem. So it's not when we say the problem definition, it doesn't mean that you need to just give 1 or 2 line definition. Problem definition also includes, okay, so the background of the problem, right? So for example, if we are talking about, for example, uh, traffic light or traffic in general, we need to discuss about at least the background. Okay, so like this is the overall population of Delhi, this is these many cars are there, traffic is this, earlier probably it was taking this much time, so kind of building story around that, right? So building story, or you can say motivation about that. So earlier probably from traveling from say someone is living in Uttam Nagar, traveling it was taking 1 hour from traveling from Uttam Nagar to say Triple IT Delhi, but now it is taking 2 hours. Or probably earlier it was taking 15 minutes, but now it is taking say 30 minutes and so. So there should be some motivations behind it. And then you talk about okay, so what is the existing solutions which are there? So one existing solution you can talk about. So earlier probably vice versa, you can say earlier coming from Uttam Nagar to Triple IT, it was taking 2 hours because there is no Google map, right? So there is no map solutions, or probably there is not well good connectivity, right? And people probably are not aware which where they can basically change the bus or the metro, because there is not you can say enough information which are available to the user, not in an interactive way and so. And then basically you can talk about, okay, so these are the challenges or limitation which were there, which was taking probably 2 hours to reach to Police Delhi. But you say that existing solutions, for example Google Map, or even DTC, there is a DTC app called Charter, built by one of our amazing colleague called Pravesh, if you know. So Charter app basically helping you in traveling through the DTC buses, and probably helping in the routing, which bus to take and where to take and all those, right? So similarly, think about, okay, so after when the people start using these kind of apps, how you have basically solved the previous existing problem, right? And so, and that is basically include everything. Okay, so problem definition, of course it will be, you'll be defining the problem what you're solving. So for example, better uh, route, basically better route determination, or you can say uh, reaching to destination in less amount of time, whatever the problem you can define. And but when you in the report, you will be discussing everything, the motivation, introduction, challenges which are there in the existing solutions, and what you are willing to solve, right? So at least that should be there in this part of the problem definition. So once the problem definition is there, so essentially you are going to build solution for someone, right? And there would be some people, there would be some stakeholders who are going to be involved in this problem definition. So when we say the identifying target user, so Sarthak, please update this. This is not just the target user, but any stakeholder who is involved. So for example, if you're talking about reaching from one place to another, so it's not just the user, who are going to board on the bus. We should also include the people. So for example, even the driver itself, even probably the traffic police as well, and so on, right? Because everything together form a basically whole cluster, and that help you in order to solve the problem. So when we say the identified target user, it's essentially, we mean that all the stakeholders that you can think of and their roles, and that is something you can do. So once you are able to identify all the target user, all the stakeholders, write down what their role would be. So for example, students role would be, so for example, traveling, or probably driver role would be probably driving the bus, and so on. So, and in fact, there would be, you can say, another role of, say, admin, who will continuously monitor what is happening with the traffic. Do they need to deploy additional buses? Do they need to probably do something or inform police if some accident happens, right? Who are the people going to help? Is it always the people? Is it always the police who is going to inform, you can say, that some accident happens? Or can you facilitate user as well to report some accident happens? For example, you're traveling from Delhi to, say, Taj Mahal on the Taj Express, right? And somewhere some accident happened, and you see there is a long queue. Should there be only the drivers, or probably the police officers should report to that, or who all can report? So these kind of features you can also think of. So just think out of the box, right? So when you're proposing the features, think out of the box. We are not expecting you to complete everything, but at least we are expecting you to write down as much as you can think. It's perfectly fine. What you are proposing should not be solvable immediately. Just think it like we will solve it in 2 years time, 5 years time, or even after 10 years. But at least come up with the ideas. Come up with the ideas. Okay. So for example, how you can basically solve this problem in better way, or even include some feature which is probably not exist, right? So I believe this. So Sarthak, please write them in separate points. In fact, problem definition. So that includes, as I said, motivation, introduction, existing solution, challenges, identify target user. So it's not just target user, but all the stakeholders, and so on. All the probably details around that, their roles, their uses, and so on. Feedback, everything what they can do. So the next part is the requirement gathering. So here, as rightly mentioned, so we need to gather user requirement and collect data using relevant data collection methods taught in the class. So surveys, interviews, we have briefly discussed. So, but I believe you can do so. So follow proper procedure, questionnaire form, consent form, collate and analyze your findings and present them in concise and accurate manner. So once probably you have the responses, draw them in form of like graphs or any other visual manner as in the report, and also discuss them what is there, right? So that is something you have to capture. So at least in the first phase, when that is March 17, that is still 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks time that you have to complete this part. And given that there are usually five members in the group, please coordinate well. Please divide the task among yourself in such a way that you all should be able to complete the task efficiently. So later on, I don't want to hear like, so I have assigned probably this task to person X, but he was not able to do. So it is your problem, right? It is the group's problem. We don't want to hear. So here, something I want you to coordinate. If some member is not doing, that's perfectly fine. Just inform us. So this person X is not doing work, So for example, there are 5 members, one member was not doing any work. Inform us. Also, first inform the student. Okay, so if you're not going to work, we are going to inform sir, TS. Just inform us. I expect the remaining 4 students to work on the problem, and we can be a bit lenient as well in that case to those 4 students, but we will be going to fail that, or probably at least make the probably life of that other student hell, right? So just be ready for the consequence. If you are not contributing to group work, I mean, I do understand there might be some urgent thing can happen. So for example, something happened in someone's family. I mean, in good faith or in good thing relationship, it's perfectly fine. You can convince your group members. Okay, so I'm not able to probably work immediately, but after 2 weeks or 1 week when I'm probably better, I can contribute to the other part. So you have to coordinate that part. If you think that one member is not doing, he's like very careless, he's not doing anything, just inform us, and all of the rest members can complete the task and let us know. So we are not going to give any marks to that student who is not going to work, but probably work with probably the rest of the students who have put extra effort to complete the task despite these challenges. So is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So, I mean, the concept is very simple, right? We want you to work as a team. And when I say the work as a team, you all have to work. And at the same time, we are also human. We do understand everyone's limitation. If someone has medical emergency, I mean, it's fine. I mean, the rest members, he can convince or she can convince the rest of the members. Okay, so look, this has really happened. I mean, I'm stuck. I will contribute probably in the rest part of the project, but this time you take over. I mean, I'm sure, I mean, we all are very considerate, will handle that. And I want you to handle that, right? But I hope this situation will never happen, and everyone will basically contribute to the project. Again, we are not expecting that everyone will have to contribute equally, because oftentimes, I mean, it's perfectly fine. Since we are working as a team, some people will contribute little more, some people contribute little less due to many reasons. So that is fine. I mean, that we want you to coordinate. Okay, so this is the we are expecting you in the first part of the submission in the project. Requirement problem definition, what all the stakeholders you have, identify them, requirement gathering through interviews and surveys, and so on. So this is we are expecting you to complete by 17th. So after 17th, what happened? So after 17th, so you'll have this much time. So what we can do after 17th, we give you another 2 weeks time. So that is time till 31st. So Satya, please note down the date. So for the first deadline, it is 17th March. And the second deadline would be the 31st of March, again 2 weeks time. If required, we can give additional 1 or 2 days if really required, but for time being, keep it 31st. So by 31st, we expect you to complete the rest of the ideation and high 5 prototyping at least. Evaluation part still I think we can do as part of the final submission, but by 31st we expect you to complete the ideation, low 5 prototyping and high 5 prototyping, right? So that is by 31st. And finally the project submission, when you guys have the in-sem examination, by 13th. And when is the moderation? Moderation is by 20th.
So ये moderation क्या है?
Sir, what is moderation meeting?
So moderation is the date by which I have to freeze the grade basically. So any evaluation will have to do that before that.
Sir, how much break do we get between 2 semesters?
Okay, so the semester will end here by, for you at least, by 15th of 14th of April. And if I'm not wrong, the next semester will be starting by somewhere first week of May. You can check
Okay,
that. I don't know, but it shouldn't be more than 1 or 2. Okay, so I think it will be hard. So what we will do? So by 31st of March, you need to complete rest of the 3 things. In fact, all are closely related as well: ideation, low-fi prototyping, high-fi prototyping, and evaluation. So as part of the, I think the details are already mentioned here. So like what we are expecting in the ideation and the low-fi prototyping, what we are expecting in the high-fi prototyping, and what we are expecting in the evaluation. So that you can complete by 31st of the March, and you'll get another additional week, say your in-term examining starting from okay. So tell me, do you want me to conduct the final presentation after the interim, like say on 14th of April, or do you want me to do somewhere just before this?
So what about 16 or 17?
Yes, sir. After 14th.
The thing is, we have to finalize the grades by then. So if I have to submit the grade by 20th, I mean 16th is
Sir, can we decide after second deadline?
what?
मतलब सेकंड डेडलाइन के बाद डिसाइड कर लें सर, क्योंकि उस टाइम पे पता चल जाएगा कि आपके पास कितना, मतलब हमारे पास कितना वर्कलोड है, मतलब अगर कुछ
नहीं, वो
कवर करना
प्लान अभी
बाकी
से
होगा
कर, नहीं वो तो तुम्हारी बात ठीक है, but there will always be some people who are closer towards completion of the project. There will always be some people who still probably in mid of that. So it's better we decide the date now. So what we can do,
Sir, 14th या 15th को कर लो.
I mean there will be people from this community, they say कि हमारी छुट्टी को आप बर्बाद कर रहे हो. There would be people from here, they can also complain.
Then sir, we can keep both the options open, before and after.
Yes, so like half and half. So you can divide the groups into half, like half will present on 14th, half will present on 15th.
Okay, that's nice.
14 को मत रखो सर, फिर एंड सेम में भी करना पड़ेगा हमें.
अच्छा,
मतलब 16 तक रख लो.
Yes, so like 1 day का break हो जाएगा, तो we can do a mock evaluation type of our own. तो फिर 15th को you can do it.
सर 17 को संडे तब भी ले सकते हो, कोई
Okay, so what we can do, I think that sounds good. So by 31st, we are expecting you to complete ideation, low-fi, high-fi prototype evaluation. So whatever you are done, it's good, and submit your report. And we will do the final presentation by 15th and 16th. 15th will be Good Friday. So those who don't want to do your presentation on 15th due to, I mean, this event, they can let us know. We will schedule their presentation on 17th, and so we can complete all the presentation by 15th and 16th. Is that fine?
Yes sir.
So what do we have to actually do in the presentation when we are making a final video explaining everything?
So by this time, the 31st, we are saying we are not expecting you to have a video. So because you will be primarily focusing on building on the things, right? So building on the, you can say the low-fi prototype, high-fi prototype, and probably doing some evaluation. So so at least by this time, by 31st of March, we are expecting you to complete the project as much as you can. And we will give you the feedback and so as well. We will give you the feedback and so on your basically submission, so that we expect you to at least work on those parts to improve that, and report and the report and the video that you need to show here by the 15th and 17th. It's kind of, you'll get some time here and after probably this day in order to finalize your report and video. So by 31st of March, we are not expecting you to complete the video, because the video is something, everything is done, right? Video is something, there is no further changes in the results or in the prototype and so. Because based on the feedback that you'll be getting after 31st submission, you may do some changes, right? So that you can submit by 15th or 16th. Fine.
So what do we do on 8 April? The research showcase.
Research showcase, I mean, forget about it. So usually what happen, it's for when for our BTech students, usually for our BTech students who perform the BTP, who take the BTP, in the research showcase so far, usually they show the what progress they have made in your BTech project. So essentially, you can also say that this is the research showcase is the day which is people use for showcasing what they have done even in the course, right? But I want to avoid this date because from next day you have the examinations, right? If I use this date, I mean, you will be occupied with just course project demonstration, presentation, which will affect your examination. So that's why I don't want to use this date. Fine.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so let's keep in that way. So let me probably take Sarthak's feedback. So Sarthak, like first 2 points, at least these two we have considered as part of the first deadline. Should we, the 31st deadline that we're talking about, should we include all 3 or just at least building evaluation part they can submit as part of the final submission they will be doing by 17th of April?
So what I think is they can have 2, 3, and 4 together, and they could propose an evaluation plan together with it.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. So I think that's a good suggestion, because I was thinking that it will be too much. So I think it's a good suggestion. So what you can do, everyone, the ideation low and high 5 prototyping you can complete by 31st March deadline, and at least propose what are the evaluation you are going to do. At least propose what evaluation you are going to do, and as part of the 15th submission that we'll be doing, the final deadline, we expect you to complete the evaluation, we expect you to complete the video and the final report. And if you see the report that you'll be submitting either 17th, 31st or 15th, it will be the same report, just you will keep adding more details over there, keep adding more details and keep updating the details. For example, you want to probably improve, improve the basically some of the high fidelity prototype that you done earlier or proposed, and over the time you have improved that, so you can add that details. So it's kind of iterative document that you'll be working on. Keep improving, keep adding extra details, extra work that you have done in the report. Okay. Any doubts, clear questions that you have here? So the first deadline will be 17th of March, second deadline will be 31st of March, and 15th and 16th, since 15th and 16th we are willing to do the presentation. So Sarthak, can we complete the presentation in just one day, given that we have different groups already? So I think we can complete this even in one day as well, right?
Sir, if the TAs, all TAs are getting involved, then definitely we can complete it in one day.
Yeah, all TAs will be involved. Of course, all TAs will be involved. And in fact, we can have parallel sessions.
Yeah, if we can have parallel sessions, it can be completed in one day.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's do the presentation on 16th only. Give them time of 14th and 15th in order to compile all the reports they have, complete the evaluation if some part is left, and also building the video for them. So we can put a deadline of 15th for submitting everything, and on 16th they can just present us. So we can probably come up with a schedule and where they can do so.
So, sir, what are we expected to do on 16th when we have done everything and submitted everything?
You submitted, but you haven't presented us. We want
We
you
have
to.
presented it in the video.
You presented in the video, but we have never chance to do a QA to you, right? So you build the video, you submit it, that's good. But as part of, you can say 10-minute session, yeah, I don't think we are going to give more than 10 minutes to a group. In 2-3 minutes, you can play the video. In the remaining 7-8 minutes, we will ask the question answer, right? How you, because you written submitted, we cannot just take that, right? We have question, how did you do that? Did you really do that? And all those.
Okay.
Okay, so any other questions, anyone?
The video which we'll be submitting will be a part of both the deadlines. In fact, all the 3 deadlines, right?
Then we don't want video here. We don't want video here.
Okay.
We just want the video as part of the final submission. But we expect you to write a report here as well as here. Fine.
Sir?
Yes.
So the data gathering methods and interviews are in like the 8th chapter of that book.
Mm-hmm.
So can we prepone that lesson earlier so that it could be of help for the 17th evaluation?
We can do. That's not an issue. So requirement gathering and probably interviews, we can do. So what I will do, so I will see what is, I will try to cover some topic which are required in your project in the next class onwards, so that at least interviews and all, I think will be useful to you. Right? Anything else? Any other questions you have?
So for the first deadline, we have to make a presentation, PowerPoint presentation of our problem space and the definition, right? And submit it as a PDF.
Okay, so I think it's better we will write down, right? So what we will do, Sarthak basically will write, Sarthak and probably other TS will write down clearly. So this is what we have mentioned here. This is the project deliverable. In fact, whatever is mentioned here is kind of expected in the last submission. So Sarthak, what we have discussed, please write down what we are expecting in the first submission, what we are expecting in the second submission, and what we are expecting in the third submission. So for example, video, we are only expecting in the last submission. High fidelity and low fidelity that you'll be building, we are expecting you to submit in the second submission, because, and in fact, second and third as well, because in the second, by the time you do in the second, but by the time you complete the third, you may improve on that, right? So you can submit the updated one as well. And project report, we are expecting you to submit after each submission. So first deadline, so whatever you have done, just write down everything in the same report. In the second deadline, again, so use the same report but expand on other details. So for example, in the same report, in the first submission, you just covered these two parts. In the second submission, you covered these two already. You already covered these two, but you can, if you want to add some additional details or improve on something, you can do so. And at the same time, add third and fourth, and probably what you are going to cover in the fifth, in the third submission. And finally, in the final submission, 1 to 4 you have already covered. So again, if there are any changes, improve that, update that, and add the details of fifth one. Is that clear?
Sir? Sir, do we need to involve every group member in each and every deadline?
यार साथ में करोगे, the aim is to you work in the team, right? So ideally it will be useful to you, it will be helpful to you to involve all the members and give the different tasks. So for example, one person can focus on the what are the existing works are there. One person can focus on what all the people can be involved. One person can focus on what are the challenges with the existing solution, and so on. So one person probably can focus on the requirement gathering. That is why 5 members in the team, right? So that if all person can work together, you will able to complete the task in less amount of time in good way.
Sir, also like we have 6 members in our group, so is it okay? Or like I've mailed you regarding the same, but haven't
6 is
received.
fine. I think 6 is fine.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So the TA said that we need to take approval from you.
Okay, so now you have the approval. Fine. I mean,
okay, sir.
Some groups have 6 members. The reason being, we know, right? I mean, there are some leftover people, and we have to add them to somewhere. So it's fine. Any other queries, questions you guys have?
Yes, sir. Sir, even we have a group of 4 people and we cannot find a 5th member since
That's fine.
very long.
That's why I told, right? I mentioned somewhere in the class or in the group, right? 4 to 6 is fine. So if you're lucky, you have 6 people, or even, I mean, some people think it's not lucky because some people are more comfortable with working with less people, less number of people, because they think that if you add so many people, it's a chaos. But some people think that if they have more helping hands, they can do better. Right? So I think it's okay. I mean, based on my experience, it doesn't make any it's not going to make any difference. 4 is a good number, 6 is also a good number. It depends on how you're working on. So any task that you can do with the 4 members can be done with the 6 member and vice versa. Right? So 4 to 6 is fine. If you have less than 4, then let me know. Okay.
The guidelines says that there is certain word limit for every section. So basically, in the first report that we are going to submit and then the second report, what should be the word limit?
We can retain the same. We can retain the same word limit, right? So because abstract introduction methodology probably, or let me do probably otherwise. So Sarthik, do we really need to have the word limit? Because one thing I just want to make everyone clear, I don't want any copy paste, right? We do plug check and all those. We are perfectly fine if you just write one page, but every sentence should be written by you. It shouldn't be the case you copy paste one para, one page and something from somewhere. We don't want that. We want you to write each and every single line written by you. Of course, you can, some part you can read somewhere but rephrase it. Don't just copy paste, rephrase it. So given that, Sarthak, we are asking students to not copy paste from anywhere. So I think it's fine that not put the word limit or something. What do you think about it?
So rather than word limit, we can have a page limit, and obviously 2 to 3 pages max would be sufficient.
Okay. Okay, so
in the abstract and introduction section, we have to include motivation of the entire problem, challenge, and solution. So we won't be able to inculcate that in the first and second deadline because we haven't completed the entire thing.
No, so I do understand. So that's why I said over the every deadline, you will update this, right? So whatever you have done, whatever your understanding until submission 1, just write it there in abstract, in introduction. In the deadline 2, probably, of course, you will get more clarity on the problem. You will have more clarity on the solution. Just update it, right? So Sarthak, I feel that, yeah, so Sarthak, I feel that if every student have to write every single sentence, they're anyways not going to go beyond 2-3 pages, at least in the first deadline. So let's not put any restriction on the pages, but what we can do, we should basically share a kind of template with them. So how about you share one Latex template with them, and we expect them to, because that will help us in keeping the uniformity in the report, right? Otherwise different people, because when you just say that use 2 pages, some people use very, very small font and in Word, some people probably use big figure to just to fill those 3 pages. So that we don't want. So what ideally I think we can do, just share a latex template. So for example, just give them ACM latex, ACM Kai latex template, right? Just give them ACM Kai latex template. So everyone, you can use, so latex is a basically, you can think of latex is kind of a way through which you can write a, usually scientific people use to write scientific report. And there is a website called Overleaf. So simply you have to do, simply what you have to do, create an account on overleaf.com, and whatever the template which our team will provide you, upload that template there, and it will be just like a kind of the way you might have edited HTML text. So there are tags, in those tags you need to simply write down, whatever you want to write as part of, like for example, there is a tag for section. So whatever the section you create, just write the details there. There is a, you can say the template, or you can say the there is a structure for table. Just use that table and just put the entries in that. So, and you'll see the difference between a report created using latex and a normal project report that you create. You'll see a huge difference. So any scientific report usually submitted by latex, and over the time I also recommend you to build your resume through latex only, because you'll see the difference if you create a resume on latex as compared to simple Word file. It's huge difference. Okay, so yeah, so Sarthak, please share that template as well. Just share ACM Kai latex template which students can use and prepare their report there.
Sure, sir. So just one doubt: are we expecting them to submit a report at with every deadline?
Yes, we are expecting to submit the report by, because we have to evaluate based on every deadline, right? So they have to submit the report. Okay, so any other questions, anyone?
Yes, sir. Sir, it's written that we need to use font size 12. So do we really need to stick to that?
नहीं, वो अपने आप update हो जाएगा. Once we give you the template, that, I mean, the font size, font type, everything is fixed, right? So you'll basically don't need to worry about that. Even the latex help you in citing different references quite well. So you don't have to now remember which one was 1, which one was 2. Simply you can just mention the text and use it. So Sarthak, please work with some other TAs to at least the TA who have prepared this guideline to update this based on the discussion that we are having today, and share with me first, and then we can share with the students.
Sure, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from anyone? Anyone? Any other questions that you have?
We have
सर
to
ये
the
सर ये
reference.
गाइडलाइंस जो हैं वो गूगल क्लासरूम पे शो होते रहेंगे 17 मार्च से 31 मार्च.
So yes, definitely. So Sarthak, please create the deadline of Google Classroom.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, if two groups have coincidentally picked up similar problem statements and issues, so would that be a problem?
So ideally, we expect you to. Okay, so I think it's good suggestion. So,
so like lot of Google Forms floating around, we saw Google Form tackling almost similar issues to our project.
Okay. So what we can do? So how about, have you already submitted which project you are working on?
No, sir.
No, right? Okay. Okay, so Sarthak, please write down again, and we can ask some other TA to basically help with that. In fact, not Google Form, we can do it right away. So if we go here, okay, so let me probably do after the class, or let me do during class as well. Okay, second. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen, right? So how about, let me first create the filters. Okay. So how about, let me, since you already have the project topic here, right? So P1, P2, should we show down? So it seems that some students still haven't written their name, and are they not part of any group? So let me check with, for example, Mayank Gautam, are you here? Lucia Xavier, are you here? Kunal Singh Rajput, Akshay, any of you are here? Keshav, Ritvik, कोई है इसमें से जिसने ग्रुप मेंबर नहीं लिखा है? Rohan, Nikhil,
Sir Chirag Kumar Banka.
are you here?
Yes, sir.
Are you part of any group?
Yes, sir.
लिख दो यार, किस ग्रुप के हो?
Sir, we haven't been assigned a number yet. I don't know.
You haven't been assigned.
Okay, G3, yeah, G3, group 3. Actually, we are group 3 and group 4 both mixed. 3 members are from group 3 and 2 are from group 4.
So, okay. So Adhika, please just make a post. So probably let me quickly check with you. So who's supposed to write this number? Is the TA or the student?
TA.
TA, right? So Adhika, please inform all the TAs to write down the project number.
Yes, sir.
Please inform all the TAs. And so once probably you're done with the TAs, so what we can do, we can just sort based on the project number and just create a kind of another column. So here basically the students can write the project title. Right? Okay, so ideally we expect students to choose one topic, but given that there are so many project groups, it is nearly impossible that everyone will have the same. But give your best. Ideally it will be good for you only if you choose some unique topic, and the best solution would be, let's do on the first come first serve basis. If your group is finalized, even though it's not finalized, at least you know your group members, please write down the project topic that you have already decided, right? If you have already decided the project topic, while adding the project topic, we request other student to please look what the project topic has already been taken by someone. If they already taken someone, so I request you to kindly try to differentiate your project with them. So for example, even though there is one project on music recommendation, so I suggest everyone to not write a very generic topic, but write a kind of, try to be more specific. So rather than saying music recommendation, so I request probably student to mention like music recommendation based on say location. Probably in that case, other person can choose a project called music recommendation based on say group you are working with or something like that, right? So just try to differentiate, and that will only possible if everyone will write down their project title here, and we request everyone not to change or delete the project topic taken by others. Just write down yours, and when you are adding your project title, I request you to please quickly look at has someone already taking that task. If so, try to modify a bit, try to update a bit so that yeah, you can differentiate your project with others. Is that fine? So there is 2 tasks here. So Adhika will inform all the TS to write down the project number for all the students, and the students, since they already know their group, please write down the project title. And only one member of the project need to write the title, right? Because there's no point repeating the same for everyone. Only, so for example, it's a G1 P1, so only one member of the G1 P1 can write that title. That's it.
Where can we find this document?
This link has been shared with you, and probably Adhika will share this title link again.
Sir, do we need to write the title name in front of every member, in the name of every member's?
No, I just
column?
told, right? I just told only one member of the, for example, G1 P1. So there are 5 members, right? Only one member will have to write, because we are going to sort it based on this. So we'll see.
Okay, sir.
So once everyone have the number, we'll sort it based on this. Yes.
We could merge the cell of whole group.
Sorry, I cannot hear you. Could you please repeat?
We could merge the cells of all groups. So
नहीं मर्ज तो कर सकते हैं यार, वो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. अभी एक ही लोग लिखो ना.
yeah, okay, sir.
Any other questions?
Sir, we cannot edit this Excel sheet.
You cannot edit your Excel sheet. So in that case, okay. Isn't it share with everyone?
सर लिंक कहाँ पे?
नहीं ठीक है. तो उस केस में okay, so in that case, just inform your TA what is your title. They will add. Okay. Just inform your TA what title you have. So once probably the TAs will receive the title, they will immediately add it. So Adhika, I request you to please inform this too. So one student inform, in fact, most of the students have already informed their project group. They will tell the project title, just add it here. And if there is any duplicacy, we will ask, or probably will work with the respective student to probably update their problem statement a bit, something.
So for project title, do we have to write the broad categories that we've been assigned in the guidelines, or like a short memo of what we're doing?
So here, the category is, I believe, is not required here. Category you can write in the report. Here we just probably interested more on the what problem you're solving. So for example, one liner for what problem we are working on. So as I suggested, music recommendation based on location. Any other questions?
Sir, just to confirm, can we take any other problem statement other than mentioned in the guidelines provided?
Yes, you can.
Okay, sir.
Any other questions, anyone?
So in the end of the document of project guideline. It says, oh, add all the references here and kindly acknowledge these references in your report wherever possible. So basically we have to, what is meant by acknowledging them?
So here basically they mean to, let me see if there is any paper in my, no, okay. There possibility could be, let me open one paper. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
So there is a website called overleaf.com. So I want you to create an account on overleaf.com. In fact, IIIT email ID will give you the Premier Pro access to this, right? So once you log in, create an account, whatever the template will give you, so template will be something like this. So you can see here, it's a kind of similar to HTML, right? So you have a template here. So for example, if you have to write title, so there is a tag called title, right? You can simply write what is the title within this. So for example, my paper name, our paper name was Gupshup, summarizing open domain code switch conversation. So whatever you have written here, you see a PDF will automatically get generated and that will come here. Similarly, these are authors, right? So you can, there is a tag called, you can say authors. So you simply write just name, all the group members name that you have, right? So that will come here. Similarly, there is a title called abstract. If you go to abstract here, so abstract begin, abstract end, right? So there's kind of abstract end. So you can write whatever you have to write in the abstract. Anything that you write here will come here, right? Similarly, there is a section called introduction. If you go to introduction, again, so there is a tag section introduction. So basically they say you to go to the intro. There's a file called, so there is a file format called .text. So text is referred to the latex. So there is intro.text, right? If you go to the intro, if you see whatever you have written here will come here, like conversation summarization is the process of blah blah blah. So everything just comes here, right? Similarly, suppose if you have a table, so let me go to that. So suppose you have a table, right? If you click on this table, you see there is a table here. So there is a tabular tab. So you simply have to put all the values here, right? So tabular, whatever the values you want to put in here. Now let me get back to the question that you asked. So in the last, if you see, there is a references, right? In the last, you see references. Yeah. So these are the references. If you see in any report, in any paper. So for example, these are the references. Like this paper, this paper, this paper, and so on. So when we say acknowledge, so ideally we expect you to cite them. So how you can cite them? So for example, let me show you something. So if you see here, so for example, this. So this is we are acknowledging here. So like if you see here, a large majority of the research in the abstractive summarization focus on news article what news article, where this news article is, we are referring, citing to this, Herman. And so if you see here how we cite it here, if you see this, like this, cite. So there is a tag called cite, gen, whatever the, it's basically simply a code, right? So for example, for this reference, if you go here, so you only added a kind of details here, and there's something called bib. If you go here, so you see, I mean, for all the references that you have, there is a kind of code. So for example, Andrew 2007 scalable and blah blah blah, and you just put bib text here and here. So I do understand that may be a bit overwhelming at the moment, but don't worry. This is very important part of any report that you create in IIIT Delhi. And take my word, if you write a report here in Latex, everyone will like it. At least you will win the half of the battle, because just look at the formatting, look at the reports generated for you. Look at the quality, look at the formatting space and everything. How nice it is done. And it's the best part, it is you don't have to manually write this citation. The best part of using Latex is that the acknowledgement you can do quite easily. What you have to write, simply just cite them. So for example, this is the code. So what you have to do, you have to write /cite, and whatever the code is there, just use this. If I go to bib, custom bib, okay, if it is not here, then probably in some other bib, but yeah, so that you can do. So it will take 1 day for you. It will take 1 day for you to familiarize yourself. So what you can do, there is 5 members in the team, right? One member can just learn how to use this report, how to generate report on Latex. That's it. And he can explain to rest of you. In fact, there is a numerous videos and tutorials which are there, which you can use. So I do understand it will it will add some work on you, but take my word, once you complete one report on this, you will never switch to any other thing to prepare the report. You'll always go for you always go to Latex for preparing the report. And secondly, it is going to be useful to you not only in ISCI, throughout your IIIT tenure, your life, as well as if you go to the companies, if you go to any other institution, higher studies, anything that you do, it's something like you never leave it, right? So I want you to learn it. It's very simple. It's very simple. If you see, as I shown you, right? It's just simple. You need to put the text in the different, you can say, in the tags you have, and that's it. So for the table you have tag, for this you have tag, and just follow this. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So never afraid with this. I mean, it will take some time to familiarize yourself to this, but we have enough time. We have enough time, at least 3 reports, right? So in the first, while preparing the first report, you will learn it. You may still probably lag somewhere, which you can fix in the report 2, and so on. And by the time you submit your third report, you will be the expert. Okay, any other question, guys?
So then how will we add images in the lo-fi prototyping?
हाँ, यहाँ भी उसी तरीके है जिस तरह से there is a tag for table, right? I've shown you. So there is a tag for image as well. For example, this is that table, right? Let me show you. Go to some image. So for example, this is image, right? So there is a tag called figure, right? So like begin figure, in figure, and you have to simply put the image here. So if you see the file path here, it should be .jpg. So whatever the file you created, just put here. So like in this case, they have created using bar, but let me show you some other figure where you can just simply use whatever the JPG and something you have created and import here. Have we used? Yeah, so you can see here, right? So heat map e2 update.png. So it's simple PNG file, the path you have given, and it will include the graphics. So there is a tag called include graphics, and here you can mention what width, what height you want to keep it, and so, right? So simply just use that figure, mention here the path, and will automatically draw for you. I mean, insert for you. Fine. Any other questions?
बट इसके लिए HTML आनी चाहिए या कोई भी कोड कर सकते हैं?
कोई भी कर सकता है. You guys are in BTech, man. ये बस सिंपल HTML आना नहीं चाहिए. I mean,
मतलब हल्का ही आता है, उतना तो डीप
उतना ही चाहिए, उतना ही चाहिए. अब यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है ना कि ये प्री डिफाइंड तरीका है जिसके थ्रू आपको अगर कोई इमेज डालना है तो आप ले लो. इवन दैट्स व्हाई सेड वी विल गिव यू टेम्पलेट. उस टेम्पलेट में देयर ऑलरेडी बी अ काइंड ऑफ इमेज. तो आपको बस सिंपली क्या करना पड़ेगा, उसका आपको पाथ चेंज करना पड़ेगा. सो फॉर एग्जांपल करंटली अब जैसे मान लो आई विल गिव यू दिस टेम्पलेट ओनली, राइट? सो you have this file name for this image. If you want to change this image, what you'll do, just change the file name with your image and it will show you your image. That's it.
Okay.
As simple as that. Is that clear?
Yes,
simple.
sir.
You have to change the file name, path name. That's it. I mean, and what the image file path that you'll give, it will show you. It's kind of very simple, right? I mean, they have given you some predefined, you can say, the format. You have to just put your details there.
Okay, sir.
Any other questions, guys?
Or are our accounts already made with the IIIT Delhi ID on Overleaf?
Then you have to create, you have to sign up. You have to sign up your account, and if I'm not wrong, you'll get the pro access for free. Even though you won't get pro access, I mean, still be good enough for you to do all your tasks. So the additional benefit usually you have, so here basically you can add your members. You can basically do chatting with your rest of the members. Okay, so this is what we are doing on this. So it's additional features available with the pro, but I believe for IIIT it's free and you can get it. If not, I mean, you can still do this.
So when will we get this template?
We'll share letter today. So it's so Sarthak, आप एक बार a letter today or tomorrow. So we are updating the project guideline. So once we update the project guideline, we'll put the link of the template there. Any other questions, guys?
सर मैंने ट्राई करा था लेकिन वो दूसरे पेज पे फॉरवर्ड को कर देता है, मतलब वो रिडायरेक्ट कर देता है किसी और पेज पे. वो IIIT का ही पेज है एक्चुअली, तो उस पे वो दोबारा यूजर नेम और पासवर्ड मांग रहा है, और वो मेरे ख्याल से हमें एक्सेस नहीं है ओवरलीफ वाला.
Yes, sir.
ओवरलीफ पे आपको
Exactly.
अकाउंट बनाना पड़ेगा ना. प्रिपेयर है
या मैंने सर वही करा था, लेकिन उन्होंने क्या करा, उन्होंने रीडायरेक्ट कर दिया IIIT वाली वेबसाइट पे.
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा.
So they are saying that we should log in through our institute.
या
देख लो यार, नहीं तो नॉर्मल अकाउंट से कर लो. Okay. Anything else, anyone? Okay, then take care. If there is not any other questions, then take care, stay safe, and feel free to let us know if you need any help.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, guys, take care. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, when will be getting our mid-sem score?
I already asked the TA to release it. I thought it has already been released, but somehow I think miscommunication. It has not been done so far, but you'll get it today. I asked the students to share it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, then take care. Bye.